Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eddie Uehara, Dean of the University of Washington School of Social Work, and I'm thrilled to welcome our 2021 graduates and their families, friends, and loved ones to this unique graduation ceremony. We recognize that our university and many of the homes in which we celebrate today are on or near the ancestral homelands of the Coast Salish people. We acknowledge the history of Indigenous land dispossession that undergirds our very presence today, and we acknowledge our debt to the Coast Salish people, past, present, and future. Before we begin, please join me in a moment of silence for all who have lost loved ones to COVID-19 and to honor the memories of Jamal Sutherland, Adam Toledo, Makia Bryant, and many other Black Americans whose precious lives have been lost just in this past year to the systemic racism that has plagued this nation since its founding. Let us also acknowledge the many who were the targets of Asian American hate crimes in this country. To our Asian American and Pacific Islander communities, we see you, we hear you, and we stand shoulder to shoulder in the fight against xenophobia in America. Graduates, I so wish we could gather together in person to celebrate your amazing accomplishments. All of you should have received a gift box from us or will soon. If you haven't opened your gift boxes yet, please open them now. They are a small token of our deep appreciation for all you have achieved and our pride in the professional path you have chosen. We come together virtually today to honor the accomplishments of 297 passionate and dedicated social work students who have worked incredibly hard to reach this milestone. Graduates, we are profoundly proud of you. This world needs your energy, your skills, your commitment to social justice, now perhaps more than ever before. Behind each of you stand family members, friends, and loved ones who I know provided support and encouragement, gave up precious family time, and maybe helped out financially so you could focus on achieving your dreams. To all family and friends, the School of Social Work salutes and thanks you. Our graduation is very much an embrace and a celebration of you. To the class of 2021, we stand in awe. Your academic achievements are all the more impressive in light of the extraordinary hurdles you've encountered during these past 2 years. The fortitude and grace you've shown during this most difficult of times are nothing short of extraordinary. Esteemed class of 2021, congratulations to all of you. I am honored to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Ben Danielson, a pillar of the Seattle medical community and a respected voice on the devastating impacts of racism on health. Dr. Danielson is a clinical professor in the Department of Pediatrics at the UW School of Medicine. He has dedicated his life to education, health equity, and public service. The Seattle Times once called him, quote, the quiet hero of healthcare, unquote. I think it's more appropriate to call him the superhero of healthcare. He's a physician, educator, and compassionate person who has cared for hundreds of children and their families as the medical director of the Odessa Brown Children's Clinic, a safety net pediatric clinic based in the heart of Seattle's Central District. On December 20th of last year, Dr. Danielson resigned his position as director of Odessa Brown, citing institutional racism and a lack of organizational change on the part of Seattle's Children's Hospital, which oversees the clinic. Although he never wanted to bring that kind of spotlight on himself, his decisive actions spoke volumes about the importance of accountability and treating our communities of color in a just and equitable way. The most vulnerable among us continue to bear the disproportionate burden of illness, injury, and even death. We have seen that borne out yet again during the coronavirus pandemic. When Dr. Danielson resigned, we at the School of Social Work, along with the other 5 UW Health Sciences schools, were proud to stand in solidarity with him. We offered our unconditional support, and his courage inspired us to renew our efforts to examine how our own actions might exclude or isolate students, staff, faculty, and communities of color. Dr. Danielson once said that he wanted to inspire people about the power they hold to be agents of change. Life is a team sport, he said. This attitude aligns perfectly with social workers who strive to co-create solutions with diverse and marginalized communities to solve the most pressing social issues of our time. Born in Boston, Dr. Danielson was placed in foster care and later raised by his single mother in Washington, D.C. and in rural Montana. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in ethology from Harvard University and received his medical degree from University of Washington. He completed his residency at Seattle Children's before assuming the leadership post at Odessa Brown in 1999. In 2018, he was named the Seattle Municipal League Citizen of the Year, and in 2016, he earned the Norm Mailing Advocate for Youth Award. He sits on a number of nonprofit and foundation boards and has served on several mayoral task forces, where he has applied a critical social justice lens to local decisions made at the highest levels. We are greatly honored that Dr. Danielson has agreed to be our keynote speaker this year. I know you are all looking forward to hearing what he has to say, so without further ado, I am thrilled to extend the warmest of welcomes to our 2021 School of Social Work graduate keynote speaker, Dr. Ben Danielson.
I want to start by saying how much your invitation to speak to a group I admire so much inspires me. So I was thinking big when I wrote this, and I titled it Liberation's Calling. I hope it challenges but doesn't offend, motivates but doesn't overwhelm. I'm very honored to join you today and add my voice to the many who congratulate and celebrate you. You all are champions for the humane journey. You've brought your best selves to this stellar school, and I honor what you have already accomplished. We who stand in witness to the important path you've traversed, we who've been in your corner, by your side, supporting you, we honor you, we celebrate you, we cherish you. It is humbling to be present in this moment with you, humbling and inspiring. It makes us want to lift up our hands and say, Ashe. Makes us want to hoot and holler, makes us want to soak in this moment in warmth and gratitude, makes us want to cry and laugh, makes us sit in quiet contentment and linger in our appreciation for you. This school resides in the academic heart of lived justice, and you have been part of a river of compassionate advancements sourced in your own desire to be of service to communities and flowing through this tributary of excellent learning, honing your talents, accelerating the currents of your own sense of purpose, infusing you with requisite skill, delivering you to this moment, this delta, this opening to your fantastic futures. I reflect on your school's mission, naming a promise to promote social and economic justice, naming that oppressed populations are most deserving of your best efforts, embracing the complexity of society's recalcitrant problems, and your mission's direct commitment to public service. This mission, your avocation, your commitment, speak to the heart of a reckoning and the transformation that must come from it. So I speak to you today as trusted partners. I speak to you as co-travelers, as welcome harbingers, and I'm so honored to be on this journey with you. Our country has much honestly to reckon with, to account for. It's time for America to choose. Sit back or get busy. Sit back and go back to the normal that has harmed so many. Sit back and allow the things we've said we want to rid ourselves of to continue to hold sway. Sit back and say some words, maybe some beautiful words, but avoid inconvenient action. Sit back and help someone only after watching their trauma metastasize. Sit back and hope someone else changes things for us. Sit back and be part of that thunderous silence of people of good intention. Sit back or get busy. Get busy redesigning and rebuilding our society. Get busy because the status quo is too poisonous to stand another minute. Get busy rebuilding because little adjustments of existing institutions will never accomplish the goal. Get busy replacing our scarcity mentality with a more humane mentality of resource enough for all. Get busy rebuilding our foundations based on valuing diversity, true diversity, rather than institutionalizing uniformity and standardization. Get busy rebuilding to get beyond the ever-escalating work of filling more gaps and temporarily alleviating more suffering. Get beyond that reactive work and prevent those gaps in the first place. Get to stemming the flow of suffering at its source. It's time to choose. Sit back or get busy. Justice has a ledger, and in that ledger is an account that is past due. This country has work to do to account for harms 5 centuries long and continuing to accrue. Justice has a ledger. An account is past due. We must, each of us, do all that we can do. I say this to you because you know what I'm saying. You understand this with a depth of knowledge that comes from each of your own sources. Perhaps the lived experiences that you, of your communities, of those close to you, the lived experiences that are chapters in your own story, are covalently part of your DNA, are indelibly part of your soul. Or you know, if not from a lived journey, then from an avidly embraced avocation. The wisdom that has emanated from your studies and training experiences in these last years, imbued you with a depth of knowledge that has inspired you to study and to strive and to share and to support each other, to sacrifice and grow in this school. You've built bonds, relationships that will be important forever, because that path you're on is not a 9-to-5, is rarely a thing you leave at work. Secondary trauma for you is built into the nature of your field. Proximity to injustice again and again can be erosive, can sap your energy. Your ability to help others will be completely predicated upon your studious commitment to taking care of yourself. And we're here, your families, your friends, your community, your colleagues, those of us who admire you and care about you, we are here and we will be here. You need only to lean. You could have chosen an easier path. There are easier ways to make a living, but you knew that when you made this choice. Maybe you're here because it is the harder path, or at least you accept that the fulfillment you seek is bound tightly to a weighty burden, especially today, as we face down a tidal wave of unmet need, of gaps in services, of harm and struggling, and when we must make a reckoning. The importance of your work, your burgeoning efforts in the realm of social work, is powerfully affirmed by your school's recent multi-million-dollar gift. Nearly $25 million flowing toward this school from the Ballmer Group to enhance the number who enter this field, the diversity of this field, and meaningfully add to your ranks. Folks like the Ballmer Group understand. They are studious learners, avid conveners, and intentional interveners in this difficult effort, and they put their resources where they knew it would make a difference. It's just another indication that you are valued by those who know the talent trust you really are and know what you can do. Today, right now, we are in an undeniable crisis of mental suffering, of social and resource deprivation. The call for you to play your valuable part is clarion. It is appeal that is unmistakably heard loud and clear. There's work to do. As your workforce hopefully expands to help individuals meet basic needs and navigate bad systems and fill gaps and alleviate suffering, I also note that expanding this work could be an ever-expanding prospect against an ever-expanding burden of need. Unless that same workforce, those same skilled people, you orient your efforts to actually stem the source of suffering itself. Your talents must bifurcate, helping those in need who suffer and undoing the root causes of suffering itself. We know where much of suffering is sourced. We know how racism and its kin are built into our systems, our institutions, in ways that assure that particular populations will continue to experience harm. We know that the greedy distribution of our great wealth of resources assures that privilege will prevail, assures that some populations will be sentenced to continuing suffering. Waiting for suffering to occur and then acting to alleviate it is not sufficient. Allowing our institutions and systems, their policies and practices and priorities to continue to function as is traps us in the very cycles we abhor. It links us passively to perpetual harm. It is perhaps a form of complicity itself. I believe that you are vitally positioned, ideally skilled, and honestly, because you've not yet lingered long in those systems, you are most unencumbered in a way that makes you society's best hope for turning off that spigot, that wide open hydrant of suffering. You are the ones that bring people like me hope, a hope that goes beyond being an armada of suffering's brief alleviators. You bring me hope that these harmful systems can be deconstructed. You can both help those in front of you and also help to reinvent all of this. I maintain this faith in you and in your talents because I am guided by my own hope. As a pediatrician, I have this very fortunate opportunity to experience hope every day, to see limitless possibility for good, for new ideas, and for brilliance in the eyes of children. I visit the future every day, and the versions of it I see in those eyes of youth are not at all like our status quo. They are so deeply inspiring that I can't help but be an unabashed optimist. Young ones convey to us beyond our limited view of the world that the possibilities for our future are amazing. Big change is called for today. Big change is necessary. Injustice is so rife, so built in that minor adjustments just won't do. No fine-tuning or modest reform will accomplish the kind of change that we need to see. Nothing outlandish about that statement. You know this. Your view of society is informed by a powerfully honest lens that makes this truth apparent, that makes it clear. Your avocation, your passion, your learnings, your unique view grasp the biggest of big pictures, the holistic whole, the sum of all of its components, and somehow also maintains granular focus. You are both prone to and trained to see the whole picture as well as the fine details within. You know better than others that modest change won't get us there. The systems around us are designed to get exactly the results we see today. They aren't broken. They are functioning to deadly perfection. They are perfectly perpetrating injustice, ensuring dominance for a privileged few, negating, erasing too many others. The systems are working as designed. They don't need a technician to fix a cog here and enhance a circuit there. They need full rebuilds. These systems that continue to make it life-threatening to interact with police if you're Black, that make you more likely to be harmed by police if you have a mental health condition, that make you more likely to be policed and ill-treated in a hospital if you are BIPOC, that bring the threat of daily violence to folks who identify as Asian American and Pacific Islander, that make you less likely to finish college and more likely to serve a prison term if you age out of foster care, make you live in constant fear of deportation for you or a loved one if you're in an immigrant family, make you more housing insecure, food insecure, employment insecure, and yet still constantly worried if you are a survivor of domestic violence, that make you experience erasure and only dismissive symbolic regard if you are Indigenous, that make rural communities face slow, withering divestment even as other areas thrive, that make every step of your educational experience restricted based on the color of your skin, that make your healthcare experience worse based on the color of your skin or your LGBTQIA+ identity, that make your prospect for advancement and compensation constrained by your gender or your disability. Serious change is needed, and it has to be done with sincerity and a commitment which brings with it organizational accountability. Don't countenance symbolic gestures when these struggles are so real. Don't let an organization's empty words about racism draw you into complacency or hopelessness, steal your joy, or make you feel like Sisyphus. Langston Hughes wrote a poem about the often empty words of anti-racism. He wrote a poem called Sweet Words on Race. Sweet words on race that take their own sweet time to flower and then so quickly wilt within the inner ear, belie the budding promise of their pristine hour. You bring the training and talent to be key inducers of meaningful change. Don't work for an institution that undervalues you, that doesn't attend to your passion, wants you to quiet your voice, defer your advocacy. You are highly skilled, motivated, transformational talents. You are a valuable asset to any group of people you work with. You need not compromise, need not hold your tongue or curtail your purpose. Your dignity is as important as the dignity that you seek to invest in others. But you know this. You know how you don't ever need to tolerate spaces that are intolerant, that are uninspiring. The constant act of solving problems, the perpetual attention to things families lack, the steady daily process of filling the gaps. This focus on what's not there, what's missing, must not make you lose focus on what is there in the communities that are called, quote, vulnerable. The cultural richness, the story of generations, the beautiful celebrations, the inerasable identities, the upward gaze of hope, inspiration, and the expectation of thriving. Do not miss what is there, has always been there, will always be there. So do not seek to simply remove barriers. Don't let that activity make you miss out on beauty. The journey of anti-racism must extend beyond the elimination of gaps. There has to be something more than the absence of suffering. Our constant focus on deficits impairs our ability to describe a better world, creates black holes for positive creative statements about equity or liberation. Those who are mired in this current state can't even find the words. The World Health Organization defines equity as the absence of avoidable or remediable differences among groups of people. The language of absence, not the language of what could be present. Equity as the nullification of some set of barriers, it might sound practical, but it is bereft of true meaning, bereft of any element of uplift, inspiration, or joy. And I think equity should reach that stratum of joy, of liberation, of freedom, of reparation, of inspiration. We need better ways to define the place we want to get to, or else we risk not knowing what it really looks like to get there. Rather than what's absent, what is present when we get there? What is present in a state of true liberation? What delivers us beyond the front door of suffering's alleviation? Can we dare ourselves to reach even further than barely overcoming abject injustice? It sounds a little strange, I realize, but we have to ask ourselves, isn't there something more beautiful for us to dream of, to aspire to plan for, to build? Something that takes us further than just clearing the scarred battlefield of social injustice? I think about the simple, expressive words of the poet C.A. Aki. What point should I make of justice if they say beauty and love are dead? So I ask you all again, what should be present in a state of true equity? Surely something joyful and moving, passionate, invigorating. Surely something much more beautiful than the absence of something. I believe that you see something better. You see liberation and freedom and freed from today's deficit language. You see better. And you know that whatever words we use to describe that place of real equity, we are talking about a powerful place indeed. You know that real liberation is stronger than hate. Langston Hughes practiced freeing freedom from the present when he penned a poem called, of course, Freedom. Some folks think by burning churches, they burn freedom. Some folks think by imprisoning me, they imprison freedom. Some folks think by killing a man, they kill freedom. But freedom stands up and laughs in their faces and says, no, not so, no. The tomorrow we strive for is more powerful than the hate that seeks to prevent its dawn. Powerful even if we lack the vocabulary today to describe it. Gift us in your endeavors with the language that doesn't exist right now. Through your observations, your efforts, your talents, your experience, describe for us what it looks like to get there, to achieve equity and liberation, beloved communities, to instill all lives with a sense of dignity, a feeling that each of us is seen, to not only patch the gaps in society's current state, but to use your knowledge of these gaps, to be the architects of a place where love abounds, where a child's sense of wonder and purpose remains nearly limitless, where a mother's brilliance and strengths are cherished societal commodities, where our differences are seen as national treasures, where joyfulness is a health outcome, where our elders' wisdom is avidly sought and gratefully applied, where no one is considered a hopeless case, where anyone can experience restoration, where no identity is criminalized, no Black person is policed to death. A society not without challenges, not without issues, not without suffering, but on a constant path towards deconstructing the systemic nature of suffering, of harm. A society which actually uses this country's ridiculous depth of wealth to actually create a more perfect union. A society that affords something sort of post-peaceful, affording not only a sense of immediate peace, but a liberation from the constant worry that peacefulness will soon erode, that the next traumatic thing is about to happen, that suffering is still waiting for us around the corner. The poet, Morgan Harper Nichols, talked about a transcendent experience of peacefulness. She wrote, "You are free to have peace without knowing what comes next." Know that our faith in you comes with responsibility. How you step into your careers will be the measure of how America addressed its reckoning. Amanda Gorman, that young poet laureate that gave Biden's inauguration poem just a few months ago now, spoke of how our actions today and tomorrow will be judged when she said, "While we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us." If her words are true, if history indeed has its eyes on us, let us not linger solely in the removal of the negative. Let us endeavor to do the spectacular. Help this society make a most important choice at a most critical time: to sit back or get busy. Tilt your talents to help balance justice's ledger. Beckon forth our needed transformation. Orient us towards true equity. Describe for us what it looks like to get there. Hold on to an expectation of something better. Remind us that liberation and freedom and equity and justice, those are forces that are so much more powerful than hate. Reinvent a society based on something other than the absence of negatives. Be keen observers, talented helpers, worthy navigators. Be outraged by injustice today, and let outrage be your motivation. Gift us the language that doesn't really exist today. If you can describe it, then perhaps together we can get busy doing it. Gift us the beyond current vocabulary potential for human beings to envision something better. If something better seems to some others to be unimaginable today, then unimagine today, unmake today's suffering, and make tomorrow wonderful.
Good afternoon. I'm Tessa Evans Campbell, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. Graduating BASW and MSW student cohorts each nominate and vote for a faculty member to receive the Student's Choice Teaching Award, which recognizes outstanding contributions to classroom teaching. Faculty are chosen based upon their enthusiasm and innovation, their ability to engage students both within and outside the classroom, and their ability to inspire independent and critical thinking in students. This year, our BASW students have chosen Jane Macy for the BASW Teaching Award. The MSW students have chosen Ariana Cantu and Bill Vesneski for the MSW Teaching Award. At the PhD level, the doctoral students have selected Emiko Tajima for the Luane Gilchrist Doctoral Mentor Award. Many, many congratulations, Jane, Ariana, Bill, and Emiko. We are about to come to the main event, honoring and awarding degrees to this year's graduates. Today, we honor the graduating students for all their hard work and their outstanding academic accomplishments. I want to start by giving recognition to graduates who have made special contributions to the school. It is important for us to say thank you to these students by acknowledging their extracurricular contributions to the school during their time with us. students who served the school during their time here are noted in the list of program graduates with small symbols next to their names. From the outset, students have helped recruit new students for our undergraduate and graduate programs. They have helped to plan and facilitate new student orientations in the school. They have served as student liaisons with the National Association of Social Workers. They have created and led student organizations, including the Student Advisory Council, and they have worked with faculty on nearly every major committee in the school, including curriculum and hiring committees. Those of us on the faculty and staff have benefited greatly from the contributions of these students, and I'd like to thank each of them who have given their time, energy, and their passion in serving the school. We so appreciate you. To help celebrate the community these students have built at the School of Social Work, here is one of our graduating MSW students, Akshita Vaidyanathan, reciting her own work.
Tending to My Plants, a poem by Akshita Vaidyanathan. Every week, I spend some time tending to my plants. I have several, some gifted by my neighbor, others procured at the nursery down the street, some still born out of existing plants. They require the basics: water, sunlight, and room to breathe. Not so different than me, not so different than humans. When I forget to water them, they sigh, craving what they need: a bit of love, attention, to survive and thrive. I respond as and when noticed, apologizing profusely for my forgetfulness. But sometimes they droop, they brown, they seem sick, and I don't know why. Are you not getting enough sunlight? Sometimes the smoke that chokes me obscures it. Perhaps its roots are rotten, much like our systems. I keep watering, thinking that's what it needs, yet it only looks sicker. Therapy, not much more than a Band-Aid when toxic roots are suffocating. I want to learn how to care for my sick plants, address root causes of harm, to dig down and see the rot. Awareness, after all, is the first step. To change the soil, sanitize the pot, rebuild our systems, so that the rot, the fungus is gone, the insidious isms, replaced with fresh, fertile soil, a restorative new home, free of capitalism and white supremacy. My garden cannot flourish, our society cannot heal, if all the roots are covered in mold, if foundation is built on genocide, power, and pain. I want to be able to tend to the garden that is humankind, that is planet Earth, but not just on the surface, at its roots too.
Now we've come to the time in the program to confer the degrees. We want to give you all the option to watch as many of the degree conferrals as you'd like. You will find that you have options on your screen to watch the degrees granted by program. You can watch just one or watch them all. We'd also like to have the whole event posted on our School of Social Work graduation website for the next 10 days, so you can come back and watch them again if you'd like.